Welcome to the ultimate journey through one of the most iconic Star Wars RPGs ever made. Unlike the first game, this one has plenty of achievements to go after. We're going for the 100%. Every decision, every path, every dark and light side twist. Here we experience the first installment's extended universe even more, visiting planets we only heard of, such as our old comrade Carthonasi's destroyed homeworld of Telos, caused by the first game's main antagonist Sith Lord, Darth Malak. Be chased across the galaxy by clans of bounty hunters, with a price on our heads. Return to planets that used to thrive with Jedi. Explore old ruins of the Crystal Caves, infested by arachnoid Kinrath. Protect the Republic by defending against a Sith invasion, led by an unknown sinister entity. Or walk the path of the dark side, and slay every Jedi or Sith, taking control of the galaxy as the most powerful Force user ever. Are you ready to view one of the greatest written Star Wars pieces of all time? I cannot wait to get stuck in. With the restored content mod added on, along with the Steam Workshop mods, I am looking forward to playing a non-vanilla version of this game for the first time. But of course, this isn't a review. This is me being eager to 100% Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. It is a perilous time for the galaxy. A brutal civil war has all but destroyed the Jedi Order, leaving the ailing Republic on the verge of collapse. Amid the turmoil, the evil Sith have spread across the galaxy, hunting down and destroying the remaining Jedi. Narrowly escaping a deadly Sith ambush, the last known Jedi clings to life aboard a battered freighter near the ravaged world of Paragus. Agreeing to play the prologue, we get a basic understanding of the game, as well as making a new friend. Repairing the ship and getting attacked by an HK unit, we finish the introduction as an achievement pops for us. A sole survivor awakens from a Kolto tank. Exploring a morgue, we encounter Kreia for the first time. A mysterious lady we learn is blind, but is able to view through the Force. Depending on how you talk to her, can either earn you light side or dark side points, which we do for both of the playthroughs to get us started on the two separate paths we choose. Here we find out that our character was once a Jedi, but has since been exiled from the Order. Taking out some droids attacking will get you enough XP to level up from level 1. I realised here that I had picked a class that won't earn any skill points needed to max out certain skills to earn their respective achievements. Luckily it was very early on in the game, so I can restart picking a different class that will suit better for maxing out my skills. Exploring further to understand where and why we are here, the exile encounters a cocky scoundrel named Atan Rand. Here we can choose our own story of what happened in the past. For the light side, like I said, we chose the canon choice of Revan becoming the prodigal knight and saving the Republic, destroying the Star Forge. But for the dark side playthrough, we say that Revan had rejoined the Sith to take over the galaxy. Learning that we are on an abandoned mining station, the crew finds out that the best way to escape is on a ship called the Ebon Hawk. Through help of old friends and droids programmed to keep us on the station, we figure out through findings in the mines that the workers were split into two groups. One's for protecting the exile, and others for selling the exile to a gang organisation called the Exchange, who have put a bounty on any Jedi, only for them all to be killed by the HK units that we assume are programmed by the Exchange to hunt us down. Not only are we being hunted by a criminal organisation, but also the Sith have found our location in their attempt to slay all Jedi. Although Paragus is highly controversial due to it being a very slow and long introduction to the game, I find the tension that builds on this abandoned mining station when the Sith appear creates a creepy ambience, where you are looking over your shoulder for the most part, leading us to a spine-chilling standoff against a Sith Lord named Darth Sion, in which Kreia seemingly sacrifices herself for you to escape.
This battle is mine alone. I am not defenseless.
He cannot kill what he cannot see, and power has blinded him long ago. Run! I shall be along shortly.
The next achievement is now that we are on the Ebon Hawk, we must not let any of the Sith board the ship. In doing so adds a whole nother process, where we must go around the ship and kill all who have invaded. We can skip this however, by killing them all with the turret machine as they try to raid the ship. As we escape, we have the choice to either shoot at the asteroids or avoid the asteroids just in case there is someone still alive in the mining facility. Doing either earns their respective achievements, but the outcome remains the same, as either you or the Sith end up causing a chain reaction, having Paragos along with the mining facility to explode. Entering hyperspace, now free from an immediate Sith attack, the team decide on the next course of action. The Sith believe that our player, Mitra Surik, to be a Jedi Knight. Once we are dead, then they have won, slaying all Jedi. Of course we know that she was exiled by the Jedi, leaving us with questions as to why we are being hunted. In Kreia's words, we cannot hope to triumph against them alone. To stop them, we will need weapons, allies, and a teacher. Moving to Kreia's quarters, they talk privately about how Mitra felt Kreia's hand get cut off. It seems that the Force flows freely between the two, and we are now bonded, causing in-game buffs, but it has its drawbacks, so we must be careful in combat. Our next stop is a planet local to the mining facility, a familiar sounding name for those who have played the first game, Telos, Karth's home planet, in which a big percentage was decimated by Malak's Sith during the Jedi Civil War. In an attempt to help the now toxin surface recover, the Republic began funding an Ithorian herd whose goal is to restore the planet's health, but more on that later. Landing on the Citadel station, we are approached by security, who place us under house arrest due to our link with the explosion on the mining facility. With the Security Task Force's investigations concluding that we are not responsible for the station's destruction, we are free to explore, but must remain on the station for the time being. Retrieving our equipment back, we find out that the Ebon Hawk has been stolen, along with a delay in the Republic's ship coming to pick us up. The likelihood of the Sith finding us before help arrives has drastically increased. We must find a way off this station and locate the Ebon Hawk before we encounter the Sith again. Seeking a way to reach the surface of Telos would require us to partner up with one of the companies working on the recovery efforts for the planet. With our respective characters, we can either go with the Ithorian herd that are creating restoration zones, as well as using the galaxy's wildlife to recover the lands, in the hopes to make them habitable once more. Or, however, for our dark side character, we can choose to side with the Zerka Corporation. Just like on Tatooine in the previous game, they saw a way to make money. With their investment, they plan to exploit the restoration zones and raid the pieces from the war that still remain on the surface of the planet, selling them on for a massive profit. Assisting whatever company you decide, we are eventually given a ship that can transport us to the surface, but not before finishing up some side quests in the facility, allowing us to sell items, earning us our 8th achievement, titled In It For The Money. This is for collecting 10,000 credits. The plan on getting to the surface of Telos isn't as easy to execute as planned, as we are shot down by mercenaries, but we do meet a new party member, Bayo Dor, a technician who worked with the exile during the war. Making our way through the grasslands, we eventually make it to a station where we find information that leads us to an anomaly of power in the polar region of the planet, hinting at the Ebon Hawk's presence. A strange-looking temple is spotted, and as we attempt for landing, a team of HK-50 units shoot down the shuttle we are on.
Egotistic praise. An excellent shot, even with the prevailing winds. I couldn't have done it better myself. Self-evident answer. Wherever you try to run, we will be there, armed and ready.
Now, whoever created the idea of these droids with their dialogue is a legend. Their delivery is so condescending, it's hilarious. Always opening up the sentence with a descriptor of the message it will be going to convey, with its monotone vocabularies. But yes, we're still being chased by the exchange and their HK units, again managing to escape capture. Finding an entrance to the temple, we make our way down to this mysterious, seemingly abandoned place. Entering the temple, we find the handmaidens waiting for us, who bring us to a member of the old Jedi Council, Atris, who exiled us from the Jedi Order. Our conversation in the dark side playthrough ends rather quickly, as arguing with her sees Atris want us to leave and never return. As for the light side path, we still quarrel over the exile's choice to join Revan during the Mandalorian Wars, to save the Outer Rim planets from being purged by the Mandalorians, an event that went against the Jedi Council's orders, causing us to be exiled. But instead of a more heated argument, we tell Atris that the Sith are back and are hunting me, as they think I am the last Jedi. Along with explaining what has happened so far, a main point being the destruction of Paragus having a negative effect on the Telos restoration project, which was caused by the Sith firing at our ship and hitting the asteroids, causing a chain reaction. The conversation starting with Atris asking if he regret the decision of going to war without council permission, continuing with the exile still defending her decision to leave for war to save billions of lives, arguing over the relatively flawed nature of the Jedi Order, then turns into explaining the Sith returning to kill all the last Jedi, and us getting what we came to the temple for, the Ebon Hawk. Before leaving, however, we do agree that the Sith must be stopped. The plan is made to find the last few Jedi Masters and encourage them to gather on Dantooine, where the old Jedi Enclave ruins lay untouched, to call a council and see what can be done. One cool part in this scene is earlier in the game, you are talking to Atton, who asks about your old lightsaber, which you can give a description of to your choice of liking. It turns out that Atris has kept it as a reminder of, in her own words, what can happen when your passions dictate your actions. This is from when we were the only Jedi who returned from the war to be trialed by the Council, leading to Mitra subsequently being kicked out of the Order, ending with her putting her lightsaber into the center monument of the Council room. Something we see later when T3M4 hacked into their archives. After this conversation, on our dark side playthrough, we unlock an achievement called the First Rule. It's simply for completing the Handmaiden Battle Circle training challenges that get progressively more difficult, with more people to battle and limitations to start off with. Only one Handmaiden is not allowed to take part, and a long story short, is shunned by partaking in anything to do with the other sisters, as she is only a half sister to them. Soon after getting the Ebon Hawk back, we leave the planet, but realise one of the handmaidens has snuck on our ship, the half-sister, popping another achievement labelled Orphan White for recruiting the handmaiden. She can only be recruited with our male character, so as for the canon playthrough, we continue on the next planet. After finding footage of the exile being banned from the Jedi Order, due to T3M4 gaining access to Atris's archives when they were downloading his memory core, the handy droid had found data of the last known locations of the Jedi Masters that exiled her. Master Zez Kael, Nar Shaddaa. Master Vrook, a survivor of Darth Malak's attack bombing the Jedi Temple from the previous game, on Dantooine. Master Kavar on Onderon. And finally Master Vash, surprisingly on the Sith world of Korriban, where the dark side corrupts. Now we know where to seek out the Jedi Masters from the council that exiled us, and depending on what playthrough we're doing, well, you'll see. With our first destination now confirmed, the crew set out to Nar Shaddaa. Whilst in hyperspace, everyone gets a well-deserved breather from the events so far that have transpired. Exploring the ship, we do find a familiar HK-47 droid unit, disabled. The exile is able to rebuild it. However, we will need to find the sufficient parts on our travels. Some have already been collected from the HK-50 units associated with the exchange that are hunting us down. Of course, multiple achievements are tied to the optional event of restoring this HK unit. With our dark side male character, we can train with the handmaiden and bond with her, learning new styles of fighting. The reason I mention this is due to 3 achievements we can potentially get. One is for maximising an influence of a character, as well as reducing an influence to 0. Another is something that I would like to not mention until it happens. Arriving on Nar Shaddaa, Atton educates the crew on what being on this planet is like. Exploring the local area after landing, we donate credits to a beggar, only to be scolded by Kreia. No matter what choice we make, Kreia will always have a counter opinion. This game is not like the first. There will be a consequence to an action, and we won't make everyone happy with our choices. A brutal beginning to what life is like on Nar Shaddaa.
And perhaps in the end, all you have wrought is more pain.
In the refugee sector, we remain somewhat discreet, although cutscenes do take place with multiple people and the exchange stalking from afar. People try their luck, like claiming that Ebon Hawk is their own ship that was stolen from them. Atton still thinks the ship will be safe though, without needing authorization codes to land in the refugee sector. We did however take another ship's landing spot, and bribe the manager of the pad to take their place. So the goal is to find this planet's Jedi Master, but that's easier said than done. So to get noticed, we will go around the decaying urban streets, assisting people such as the oppressed refugees that are practically slaves to the exchange. Or on the other hand, we can be evil and do horrible things. So in this playthrough, unfortunately, achievement glitches will tend to happen. When I first left Paragus, I got a trophy for dancing for a hut. Now I have 2 more that were related to get 30 points in repair and computer use. I have not put a single point into repair for my light side run, but it still managed to pop. Soon after this, I enter a Pazaak den and beat all with ease, which gets the attention of someone called the Champ. As he challenges you, you can convince him to lose the game without even playing, earning the Cheater achievement. We also pop another achievement relating to Pazaak, called Pure Pazaak, and this is just to beat the Champ on Nar Shaddaa. Exploring more, and now with all lightsaber parts collected, we can craft a new saber for ourselves back on the Ebon Hawk. Upon boarding the ship, our suspicions are raised. Something is wrong. We are drawn to a room where what seems to be a Sith named Visis awaits. The duel begins, but after a long battle, we break her lightsaber. And as she's passed out, we show mercy and take her to the med bay, earning maximum light side points in the process. Later on, Visis is now recovered. Through dialogue, we find out that her master has practically enslaved her after destroying her planet and draining it of the Force, leaving it a barren wasteland. She now pledges herself to you. Back to Beodor, and all the equipment needed to craft our Jedi weapon, we finally construct a new lightsaber and pop the An Elegant Weapon achievement. In the hopes of raising our notoriety to get the attention of the exchange, we are approached by 2 Twi'lek men, alerting us to Atton's past of being a murderer. When confronting him about this, although angry at her persistent questioning, the exile had earned enough of his trust, to the point of him telling her the truth about his past, of him leaving the Republic Army due to the Jedi's lack of involvement during the war, stating that it was cowardly, then joining Revan's military, along with other Jedi, who went against the Council's wishes, to take on the Mandalorians that murdered people by the millions. As Revan fell to the dark side, long before his redemption, Atton followed. His task was to hunt down and kill Jedi who remained in the Order. At the back end of the Mandalorian War, he was confronted by a female Jedi Knight, informing him that he was Force sensitive, and if Atton remained allied to the Sith, they would convert him into a dark Jedi to be controlled. Atton heard of many people who would go missing, and knew that the Jedi wasn't lying, but still in his Sith-trained ways, he would torture the Jedi, but not before she allowed him to see through the Force, showing the repercussions of what would take place if he remained Sith loyal. Killing her out of fear, Atton then abandoned the Sith. With the exile forgiven him, at his request, Mitra awakens him to the Force, with him eventually becoming a Jedi Sentinel on a light side run. During the game, however, Kreia knew of all this, after using the Force to get inside his head, gaining suspicion of his fear of Jedi, went on the secret temple on Telos, then using this against him to stay with the crew instead of leaving after Paragus. Atton, beginning to be infatuated by the exile, was worried. He feared she would think less of him. Gaining enough influence with him, there is a cutscene. After Atton comes clean to the exile about his past, he goes to confront Kreia to break the hold she has over him. She still considers him a fool, and isn't threatened by his confrontation, still calling him out for what he is, a murderer. Finishing up on side quests, the man who supposedly owned the Ebon Hawk breaks onto the ship, but awaiting him are thugs that we took the landing spot off, the Red Eclipse, a slaver gang who await our return. Arriving back, we are confronted by them, who attack us on sight. Taking them all out, as well as saving the man who then flees our ship, we get a message on the comlink. It's from someone called Visquis, hinting that he's a representative of the Exchange, requesting to meet in a cantina only meant for aliens, due to the poisonous toxins inside harmful to humans, meaning we will have to wear an environmental suit, leaving us unarmed. Clearly a trap, but another step closer to dealing with the Exchange and the bounty on the exile.
It may be a trap, but traps work both ways. This Visquis, his kind are spread through the lower reaches of Nar Shaddaa, and he may have information.
On our way alone, Atton runs to warn us once more, giving us healing items just in case something happens, who then heads to another cantina to wait. Another person who runs into us is a bounty hunter called Mira, a person the player knows has been following us. Introducing herself, she seems to want to help us, knowing everything Visquis said, and stating it's a trap, alerting us to the plan Visquis has to kill us, then delivering the exile to Goto, the leader of the Exchange, which would be against the bounty hunter truce, shown earlier with them all being told not to attack the exile. With the bounty hunter truce now being off, things are going to get messy. Starting with Atton being attacked in the cantina, but with all of his training, manages to take out 2 assassin bounty hunters. Then heading back to the ship to warn the other party members, who are also confronted by another clan of bounty hunters. Back to the exile, we are taken to Mira's safe house. We are then drugged, leaving us to pass out. Having her take our suit, pretend to be us before she meets with the representative, and subsequently kidnapped after finding out that she isn't the Jedi. Still unconscious, the exile is visited by one of the old council, Zez Kyle. Knowing we can hear him, he praises our handling of helping the people of Nar Shaddaa, along with mentioning that he hired Mira to protect us. With her now being captured, he feels guilty. His goal now is to rescue her, as she will soon be dead, and asks for you to do the same. Recovering from the toxin, we head to the Jek Tar Club. With the trap for us still set up, we are gassed upon entry. Gasping for air, Kreia uses a special bond between us to communicate, teaching us a Force breath control to avoid another dangerous toxin. Whilst clearing out the club, I use multiple Force powers to buff up my character. These powers stack up, putting my persuade over 30 points, getting another skill-based achievement. So it turns out the game wasn't glitching the achievements from earlier, but me misunderstanding that power stack up on skills, not just combat. With Visquis escaping through the secret tunnels with the Wookiee Hanha, Mira's rival, we are close behind. However, Mitra gets trapped within the maze of the tunnel, and we will need assistance to get out. Back to Mira, she awakens from protecting the exile, but has been put into a one-on-one battle with her Wookiee rival Hanha. Depending on your allegiance to the light or dark side, you can recruit either Mira for the light side or Hanha for the dark side. Either will grant you an achievement later on, after you kill the other rival. Whatever the outcome, Visquis will end up releasing Cathounds to finish you off. But you manage to escape and let the exile, still trapped in the tunnel maze, out, unlocking a once sealed door. Confronting Visquis, the alien who aims to betray Goto, the leader of the exchange, whilst trying to capture you, is killed by his own henchmen. These turn out to be commanded by Goto himself, who captures you and brings the exile to his ship, orbiting the planet.
Jedi remains on Nar Shaddaa. My eyes shall watch her.
Leaving the rest of the party to raid the secret base to save you, but realizing that they are too late and need to find your location. A while after the party leave to regroup and all the chaos seemingly over, Kreia stands over Hanha's corpse, reviving the Wookiee, bringing the beast back to life, for a reason unknown at this time. In Wookiee culture, this means Hanha owing her a life debt. All that is said is to kill Mira and leave the exile alive. If on a dark side playthrough, she'll force him to join the party and go to save you on Goto's yacht. Figuring out that we need a code to access Goto's yacht without the Ebon Hawk being destroyed, T3M4 goes into a droid factory in search, finally retrieving it. This is where we recruit Mira as a permanent party member, earning the achievement Lost Girl. If on the dark side playthrough, we also pop an achievement as we recruit Hanha, who has clearly been forced into the situation. During this time, however, the exile, whilst talking to Goto's projection, finds out that he only wanted Mitra to help the Republic, something we are already in the process of doing during this light side playthrough. His reason for this is because having the galaxy in a negative state it is in right now is very bad for his business. The only reason why he set a bounty out for you was to get you to him safely, or so we thought, but the bounty hunters still seek out to kill, expanding more on the HK units that hunt us, which we also find out are hidden as protocol droids in the Republic. This conversation ends as the Ebon Hawk docks in on the ship, where our allies make their way through to save you. Now with the exile, the crew make their way to the bridge to unlock a sealed door back to the ship. The bounty hunters seen throughout the planet start to board the yacht too, in search of the Jedi to kill on sight. High leveled at this point, we easily finish them all and escape the ship, now in shutdown, just before it blows up. Whilst regrouping on the Hawk, Goto in his own words gifts us a droid to add to our party, still wanting us to assist the Republic. With all that chaos done, we now return to Nar Shaddaa to speak to the Jedi Master, Zez Kyle. Talking to Zez Kyle, we get time to have our lingering questions answered. We are told that there are few Jedi left, and spread throughout the galaxy. This is due to them being easily targeted through the Force in a large group. As the Jedi are hunted through the Force to be killed, they all went into hiding. So the extinction of the Jedi was all faked, to making the Sith believe that they had slain them all. Also, another point to add was there is a mysterious entity, Visas' master. So the Jedi made a plan on waiting to see if it will eventually reveal itself. Jedi hid on planets where it was difficult to sense others through the Force, with Nar Shaddaa being a perfect example. We inspired Zez Kyle to come out of hiding and assist on our aid against the Sith. with a major factor being him seeing us helping around the planet and the refugees. Here we can also question Zez about our exile, a force bond with Kreia, in which we are told is unnatural, and how we lost our force powers after the exile. The only way to figure out about all these questions asked by the exile is to find all masters and gather them to learn the truth about these anomalies. We don't really get a straight answer from Zez about why we were exiled. Even on the day of our exile, he decided to leave the Order due to losing faith. Ending the conversation with Zez Kyle, he teaches us a new battle style, which will help with our defense. On our dark side playthrough, we straight up fight him to the death, draining him of life, and learning the style he teaches from the light side playthrough by studying his technique whilst in combat.
I shall go to Dantooine, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there.
One quest we've had since Telos was to find a provider to sell fuel to the ruined planet, assisting in their restoration efforts, and we were able to find one by going back and talking to Voga the Hutt, a great step for healing a heavily damaged planet. Whilst travelling to a different system, we have time to get to know our crew members more. Throughout the game, and depending on influence, the team tends to open up. Just like Atton, we talk with Beodor and his issues about dealing with the aftermath from the Battle of Malachor 5. He was given a command by the Exile to activate a cataclysmic weapon, transforming the planet into a graveyard world, killing a significant amount of people, in which he will have to deal with the consequences with, by regret, and with the loss of his arm, which was replaced with a mechanical one that can shut down force fields. But thankfully, he has the company of a small remote that he had built as a child. It gets to the point where Mitra finds out that he is force sensitive and is trained into a Jedi. Talking with Mira, she keeps herself to herself for a while. Perhaps later on we can find out more about her, if she decides to open up, that is. Seeing the Goto droid floating around the Hawk puts people on edge, especially with a comment from the Exile suggesting what's stopping it from shutting down the droid, in which Goto has a retort, mentioning that his one of many droids would just be lost, but the trigger safe inside will blow up the whole ship, killing everyone on board. For now, we'll have to deal with its presence. We are on the same side of aiding the Republic after all, so there's no need to do anything drastic. It seems to really want to help us. Perhaps we are just being on edge, but why wouldn't we be, as the Sith and HK-50 units are hunting us still. But at least we can relax from taking out all the bounty hunters trying to kill us, after the misinterpretation of the bounty that Goto had put out of capturing Sith and Jedi, by killing them instead of bringing them to Goto alive. Eventually retrieving all the HK parts, taken mainly from the ones that have been hunting us, we are able to repair the damaged droid on the Ebon Hawk. A familiar face for players of the first game returns, HK-47. Enraged after hearing that there are HK-50 units that he views as substandard duplicates of himself after his reactivation, the droid vows to kill every last one of them.
Then I look forward to the opportunity to meet these units and educate them in proper assassination protocols.
As we head out to Onderon, we are prevented from landing due to a political conflict currently occurring. During this time, the Onderon militia attack our ship, as we are hunted down by order of Colonel Tobin. Set out with the choice of attacking or fleeing, we decide to flee to the nearest moon of Duxon, in the process of all the chaos now above. As the Ebon Hawk needs repairs, we go and scout the nearby area, coming across aggressive carnivorous wildlife that will attack on sight. In our search we find salvage from the Mandalorian Wars, as Onderon was one of the first planets to be taken over by the Mandalorians at that time. The moon seems to not have any intelligent life to it, until we come across a fresh deceased Mandalorian body. This is where we are stopped by a scout group of a Mandalorian clan, as they deactivate their stealth shields, where they inform us that their leader, Mandalore, wants to meet. Now in their covert camp, we are brought to Mandalore, Another nice little surprise for players of the previous game, as we recognise the voice. Mandalore is hinted to be Canderous Ordo, a fellow party member from KOTOR 1. As the Mandalorians eventually heavily lost the war, the group disbanded. Mandalore of Clan Ordo aims to rebuild the warrior army. With the Ebon Hawk out in need of repair, we ask for transport to Onderon. Mandalore just so happens to have a ship he uses to go to the planet when in need of information and supplies. But to go with him, we must prove our worth by assisting his clan with any problems they face around camp. These will range from repairing broken electronics, saving lost clan members in the forest, hunting powerful beasts, attacking other aggressive scouts that are currently searching for us to kill, as they know we have landed on this jungle moon, and finally becoming the champion of the Battle Circle, a training area where combatants get more difficult. This has an achievement linked, which I didn't know about at the time of recording.
The match between Jedi and Braylor is over. The Jedi is the clear and honorable victor. You have defeated the most worthy of us. You walk away the champion of the Battle Circle this day.
Returning after completing all of these quests, we are granted permission to travel with him. It's quite comical if you return to him, as he'll just go on a monologue of your successes. Before we leave for Onderon after proving ourselves, Mandalore educates us on what is happening on the planet at this current time. There seems to be a civil war about to take place between General Vaklu, a man who is spreading propaganda and lies to the citizens, in an attempt to take power away from Queen Talia, a Republic Ada, who due to Vaklu's manipulations has lost power with the government, making it easier for her to be overthrown from power and have the planet run under martial law. Getting ready to head off, as Mandalore has his clan prep for the ship, he is approached by Kreia. Here, she berates him about the Mandalorian failings, and in her view, a silly attempt of a revival. This is when Mandalore replies with the fact of at least he's given the lost and scattered Mandalorians purpose by forming again, and not work as some mercenary for a Hutt or just be a low-level thug. The conversation comes to an end when Kreia says she will answer a question that has heavily been on the Mandalore's mind, one that references his former master, Revan.
Do you wonder where he wanders now, Mandalore? Why he gave you your orders, then abandoned you at the edge of the galaxy?
How do you know that?
I know many things, and I can answer the question that burns within your shell, Mandalore. But there is a price. You must keep the one I travel with safe. She is important to me, more important than anything.
As the exile approaches the ship, Sith assassins appear out of nowhere, and a massive battle takes place. The Sith have tracked our location. Before we leave, we must take them all out. Our whereabouts must remain a secret. Killing multiple squadrons, Mandalore is set on leaving, as the rest of Mandalorian clan Ordo can handle the rest. From here, we take a small shuttle to the city of Isis on Onderon. Playing the light side playthrough and switching over, loading the dark side save after finishing every planet, we get our final crew member on the dark side playthrough, popping the Gang's All Here achievement. We do have one more character to find for our light side playthrough, but we'll get to that later. As we level up Mandalore, we get his treat injury to 30. Now I know that these skill-based achievements don't have to be with our player character, but can be earned with our party members. With Mandalore's intel, Dagon Ghent on the other side of the city, we make our way over. In the process, we see the political tensions flaring within the city, with many news reports, one stating that the Ebon Hawk ships started shooting at the military first, which wasn't the case at all. Also, there are citizens either arguing over politics or attempting to find a starport visa, an item which you will need to have in order to leave the planet. Getting to Dagon Ghent's place, we find that he is under arrest due to being a suspect in the murdered soldier captain case. So here we go on a long process of asking around to get any type of information, hopefully proving Ghent's innocence. This ends with us finding proof that he was not the killer by retrieving a droid's recording in a junk pile. One thing I forgot to mention why we are looking for this Dagon Gent is that he knows someone on the inside of the palace that could smuggle a message in to the Jedi Master Kavar, who we know is on the planet. Showing the captain the evidence, Dagon is released, but not without an attempt from a higher up, trying to dismiss the captain of his duties. Something fishy is going on here. This, along with the militia trying to arrest journalists, clearly shows how bad things are gonna get when General Vaklu doesn't get his way and is in power. Meeting with Dagon Gent, he sets up a meeting with Master Kavar in the local cantina. We don't get to talk much as we are interrupted by Tobin and his squad, the man who commanded the army to shoot the Ebon Hawk first. As Kavar is defending the Queen and is on her side, he flees back to the safety of the castle. He does this knowing Tobin will chase him, giving us a better chance of escaping back to the shuttle. The strange thing is, as we make our way back, we are stopped by some militia, ones that attack on sight, and others that ask what's going on, due to a communication blackout. It seems that certain squads of the militia aren't all on Vaklu's side, so he keeps them out of the loop perhaps. Something to figure out later, as we need to leave the planet quickly, since we are becoming notorious of the militia, finding out our location. Kavar did say before he left that he'll send a message when he needs us, and there's nothing left at this time for us to do on the planet.
Not all the military is after us. Still, Vaklu can throw a whole army at us. I think we've outworn our welcome over here. We should head over to the spaceport before General Vaklu invents some charges against us. Then we'd be in real trouble.
Now playing on our dark side playthrough, we get the If You Only Knew achievement, finally reaching maximum dark side points. After Onderon, we get a funny dialogue choice of asking HK-47's definition of love. I'm not sure if influence is needed, but I was curious as to what a droid's view on love was, and I was not disappointed, in the process earning the Cupid's rifle achievement.
Answer. Many organic meatbags find that question difficult to answer, Master, but I believe I can provide you with a satisfactory definition. Definition. Love is making a shot to the knees of a target 120 kilometers away using an Aerotech sniper rifle with a tri-light scope.
Our next destination is Dantooine. At the landing pad, we are approached by a woman who notices our lightsaber. We get the impression that Jedi aren't liked here anymore by the multiple settlers we talk to. This is due to their lack of help after Malik's bombardment during the first game. We are then recommended to speak to an administrator in the large building that used to be the Matale estate. Let's hope that both the Matale and Sandral families are safe and moved with their children after they put their family feud aside. Within this building, the administrator sees that we are a Jedi and asks for our help to find Master Vrook, who hasn't been seen for a while, giving us permission to explore the Jedi Enclave to find him. She wants to find the Jedi Master, as he is pivotal to saving them from a group of Sith-allied mercs, who aim to overthrow the current rule and take over the Kunda building. Dantooine was once mainly a peaceful planet, home of a Jedi Enclave, along with settlers and farmers. But time has passed, as we see the destruction of the once esteemed Jedi Enclave, now a crumbling rubble. A place where we once felt safe has now turned into a location where wildlife has taken over, along with scavengers and mercenaries setting up camp, looking for work and Jedi artifacts. Before entering, we see fleeing salvagers, mentioning that they have left a member of their group inside. As we enter, we see the carnivorous animals roaming. Our job now is to clear them from tainting this once peaceful place. In the process, we earn a couple of achievements, getting our stealth and demolition skills up to 30, and also reaching the level 30 milestone. Killing the last beast, we are approached by a crazed Jedi Padawan. It seems that she is slowly being lured by a dark holocron, but has thankfully thrown it away. We tell her to only listen to her old master's holocron to seek wisdom. Bonding over our Jedi past, we wish each other well, and go our separate ways after she mentions that Vrook has been taken by mercenaries. Along with saving the trapped salvager, who rewards us with Jedi artifacts, we find a man studying in the Jedi library, a disciple, a man who was sent by the Republic to preserve the history of the Jedi. He is also in search of the Jedi Masters, and was once training to be a Padawan, and how his connection to the Force has faded since then. Here we can get an achievement and recruit him as our last crew member for the light side playthrough, and re-establish his connection to the Force. Exploring further, we find a datapad from a dead mercenary that has information about where they had taken Master Vrook, which is the Crystal Caves. Searching for, then entering the cave, it is infested with Kinrath. The deeper we go, we come across a crystal chamber, and after killing all the Kinrath, we retrieve a very special crystal, popping the Pet Rock achievement. Now this crystal is powerful indeed, and is in tune with the Exile. This mystic crystal gets more powerful as you progress throughout the game. Continuing on our search for Master Vrook, the Exile reaches a mercenary stronghold, where Vrook can be seen held behind a force field. Clearing the room, Vrook opens the cage. He is not pleased with our actions, so his plan was to think that they had captured him, to avoid them raiding the current rule. In the process, Vrook could hear them talk about their plans, but now the Mercs have no reason for not attacking the Kunda building, so we all head back to help. Confronted by their leader, he attempts to try and convince you to join him instead, in which we refuse, and decide on helping the settlers of the planet, unlocking an achievement called Last Stand. The sinister-looking leader leaves his mercenaries to take care of us, but we of course prevent them from doing so, quickly returning to the Capitol building and informing them about the planned raid. We work our way around the building, helping in any way we can, by recruiting people to assist, as well as repairing old droids and security. With the raid now beginning, we defend the building as much as we can, whilst Master Vrook attacks the Merc camp, taking out even more of their numbers as they heavily outnumber our militia. Eventually having to fall back, we have a final standoff against this Merc leader. As we are prepared well, it isn't difficult at all to defeat them. Now we can finally talk to Master Vrook, after praise from the Administrator for helping us defend the future of the planet. We inform him of our meeting with Zez Kyle, as well as the Sith threat. Master Vrook gives the same old answers to our questions we had asked Zez Kyle on Nar Shaddaa. It seems that we won't get any fleshed out answers until all the Masters are reunited. One new piece of information we do get is that the Council did not cut us off from the Force at all, adding more questions for us to find the answers to. Before leaving, we can learn a new stance that will be most benefited from if used in one-on-one combat. For the dark side playthrough, there's an achievement only 3% of people have earned. The aim is to continue to side with the settlers until the Mercs invade the inside of the Kunda building. Here we switch allegiances and kill Master Vrook. Boarding the Ebon Hawk, T3M4 gives us an urgent communication from the Mandalorian camp, telling us to return as soon as possible. Returning to Duxon, we are updated on the news on Onderon. The city of Isis has broken down into civil war. General Vaklu, with the power he slowly got himself into, managed to get enough rule to declare that the Queen was guilty of treason. The plan is to head back to the city and prevent corruption from taking over the world. One problem is that there have recently been Sith ship signatures the Mandalorians have scouted on Duxon, gaining entry to an ancient Sith tomb of Freedon Nad. From here, we'll have to split the crew into two. One to stop the Sith on Duxon, which I chose Beodor for his technician skills, Mandalore to be with his troops, and powerful soldier skills. And Visas. It's always safe to bring a skilled Jedi along. This group takes out the squadrons of Sith throughout the tomb until we get to the burial chamber of the fallen Jedi. It's not properly told why the Sith are here, but there is a Sith Lord finishing a ritual, one that could potentially be helping the Sith-aligned militia attempting to murder the Queen on Onderon. At this point our party is overpowered, so we can put an end to this dark side corruption with no struggle. Then switching over to the Exile. Taking a Mandalorian Basilisk attack ship to the war-torn city with the Exile is Mira and Kreia. The Queen has been pushed back inside her palace, so the squad will have to press their way up the footpath to the royal building, assisting any troops and clearing out the Sith. Upon entering, we see the two main villains of this planet, General Tobin and Commander Vaklu. They are attempting to break open a force field barrier through a Sith-controlled beast. Queen Talia has been pushed back all the way into her throne room at this point. This is her last stand. With the beast destroying the force field, its handler loses control and it goes on a rampage, taking out General Tobin in the process. The only way through to helping the Queen is slaying the beast. Seeing the royal soldiers struggling, the Exile uses battle meditation to change the tide. Vaklu is now all alone and will have to deal with the consequences of his actions. All his work has caused many deaths by allying himself with the Sith in an attempt to overthrow the Queen. Threatening to escape jail within a day if taken into custody, Queen Talia realises that it's too much of a risk to the planet for him to be left alive. His punishment is death. For allying yourself with the Queen, will earn the Royal Protocol achievement.
I appreciate the Jedi's counsel, but as monarch, I decree you are guilty of treason. The punishment is death, to be carried out immediately. Captain Cadron?
Fire!
As we chat with the Jedi Master Kavar, it's clear that these Jedi Masters we encounter won't reveal anything until they all have reunited on Dantooine. But we do unlock another battle style to use in a certain scenario, depending on what enemy we face. As we leave, Kreia revives Tobin. Another strange revival such as Hanhar, alerting the General that there is a secret Jedi base on Telos. Now we are unsure of why Kreia is doing this, but the Exile and crew are unaware of these events. On the dark side playthrough, of course, there is an achievement for siding with Vaklu, in which we will kill the Queen and Master Kavar. Flying in Korriban's crimson skies, we land on the old, but now desolate plain, where the Sith Academy members once explored the presently barricaded tombs of the legendary Sith of the past. In the briefing the crew have before stepping foot on this planet, Kreia mentions that the most likely place to find our lost Jedi is in the ruins of the old academy. To get there we must travel through the plundered, abandoned and unpreserved architecture, an ambience that builds a creepy tension, leaving me to check my surroundings constantly for danger. Looting a corpse on this planet earns the Grave Robber achievement. Although this place looks abandoned, looting bodies triggers beasts to your location. The angry phantoms of the Sith, too weak to influence the sentient, have taken the local wildlife drawn to the dark side to do their bidding. As lifeless as it seems, the dark side is very strong around us. Approaching a cave, we are advised by Kreia to finish our explorations within the academy before entering. Heading into the abandoned academy doors, we earn the It's a Trap achievement for starting the trapped quest. We see a scene of Sion meditating, but through exploring, there is nothing and no one here. Eventually, we unlock a door that opens to the torture chamber, where we see a lifeless Master Vash. The Jedi Master we are searching for is dead. This is a point where I was both gutted and upset, as I didn't know much about the restored content mod, but I knew that in this mod she would be alive. So in this mod version downloaded through the Steam Workshop, I did question how much more content I potentially missed out on. In the future I'll perhaps do a more condensed video playing through the restored content mod, if I manage to figure out what the issue is. Walking to the exit, we see Darth Sion waiting. It seems that Kreia had trained him in the past, and he alerts us that she will destroy us. Sion will do anything to kill his former master. With us not wanting him to do so, a fight begins. Eventually, with a pause in combat, Kreia manages to communicate with us that he cannot be defeated, especially here on Korriban, where the dark side fuels him. This triggers another achievement called Fight Another Day, for fleeing Korriban after fighting Scion. We don't leave Korriban yet, however, as we are to explore the cave we were warned about. Getting to the end, there is an old Sith tomb, where we will have to enter alone, as party members confess that they don't think they are strong enough to go through this dark side infused tomb. It seems that we are hit with visions from the Exile's past. In the first room, we are back at the point where we are recruited by Malak to fight in the Mandalorian Wars, before his descent to the dark side. With retrospective thought, the Exile talks to this vision of Malak about the potential consequences of the actions he plans to take, causing a battle to take place. The next room will have you have a vision once more, and make a decision of whether to sacrifice Republic troopers to gain an upper hand in the Mandalorian Wars, or to save them. The third is with our companions. Starting with Kreia, we are yet to live this vision, but it consists of all our party crew claiming that Kreia is a Sith, and aim to protect me from her, leading to a choice to defend or attack her. We can also claim our awareness to this vision and not pick a side. This will result in them all to attack me, but with being so overpowered, I can stop them all quickly with my force powers. Within the last room, we approach a dark side form of ourselves, standing side by side with Darth Revan. To end these visions, you must take out both of them. With this now over, we are congratulated by Kreia for finishing these tests. The tomb's dark side power, which easily corrupts many, doesn't seem to control the Exile, and we ourselves are able to control our actions. On the dark side playthrough, we are in our element, slaying Korriban's wildlife and basking in the dark side, using a new favourite force power, casting force lightning on anything that opposes us. So from exploring the galaxy any way we choose, here the story gets more linear. We are nearing the end game. We know all the Jedi Masters left have agreed to meet at the Jedi Temple. We see that the Enclave has been partially rebuilt, with an inaccessible entrance to the courtyard now open to go through. As we head into the Enclave, a cutscene plays of General Tobin on the ship of the unknown Dark Entity. He brings the news that was told to him by Kreia on Onderon, the secret Jedi Temple on Telos, where Atris still remains. Back to the Exile, we enter the Enclave to see overgrown weeds which have taken over this once important sanctuary. Kreia needs to rest. Whatever the answers the Council have are now for the Exile alone. We now approach the Jedi Masters who have been awaiting our arrival. In an attempt to rally against the Sith, the Masters disagree with the Exile and still wish to remain in hiding, believing there is nothing that they can do at this moment in time. Hoping to finally get some answers that have been lingering for a while, we converse with the Masters. To summarise, we learn that Exile is gifted in the Force, especially bonding, which normally takes a long time for other Force sensitives. After some thought, it all makes sense. The crew on the Ebonhawk open up to me throughout the game, and even go as far as to leave their lives and clans to follow you. Some quick examples being the Handmaiden leaving Atris, and Visas turning on the unknown entity that is her master. A powerful thing to be in touch with. The Exile also learns that during the tragedy of Malachor 5, in which when she had given the order to activate the mass shadow generator, killing an unknown amount of Jedi and Mandalorians fighting on the planet, had caused a ripple in the Force to the Exile. With our bond to the thousands of allies now dead, the Exile had to cut themselves off from the Force, although subconsciously, to prevent he or she from dying. Not only do we have a special talent for forming bonds, we can also, as Rug bluntly describes, leech the life of others. The bond we have has been described by many who have played the game as a literal XP system. As we progress through the game, we get more powerful. This is because with every kill we do, we drain the enemy of their life force. All the death caused to get here, we feed on it, and the exile grows stronger. The Council seem to be afraid of the exile having this power, and wish to actually shut us off from the Force for good. The exile is considered a threat to all, even being on the Jedi side with their Force powers uniting the Council that was in hiding, and the ability that could be used to stop the Sith. Surrendering yourself to the Council's wishes, the process begins. Kreia entering from her rest stops the Council from beginning to remove the Force from us, sending them flying and causing the exile to pass out. Enraged, Kreia berates the remaining Council members due to their ironic and hypocritical behaviour. All were on planets that where if they showed their presence, much death, evil and corruption would have been avoided. After the fact, I also think that she was fearful of her powers being taken away too, since she has such a unique bond with the exile that could be fatal to her as well. Ending with Kreia killing Master Kavar, Master Zez Kyle, and Master Vrook. She then leaves, being picked up by the Handmaidens to be taken to the secret Jedi temple on Telos. As the exile recovers, we gain a light side Force power, Force Enlightenment, earning an achievement for acquiring all light side powers. This is a strong power to use, as it activates pretty much all of our light side powers in one click, to buff our character up massively. Returning to the Hawk, we see Atton recovering in the cockpit. He tells us that the Handmaidens came for Kreia, as they know who she is now, a Sith, and have taken her to Telos. Thinking that Atris will execute her, and knowing that the Sith are planning to attack Telos, we must quickly head to the planet, as if Atris kills Kreia due to the Force bond, the exile will die also. With Kreia on Telos, she is taken to Atris. Here she picks at Atris's mind, stating that she was the one who gave her the idea to kick the exile out of the Order in the first place. Along with this, Kreia states that she knows that Atris has been collecting Sith holocrons to understand them more, also explaining why she chose the Handmaidens to be her servants, as they are not Force sensitive. In turn, they can't be corrupted by the dark side, but studying these holocrons has made Atris to fall from the light. For the dark side playthrough, things are slightly different. When first meeting Atton on Paragus, our starting conversation with him lets us choose what had happened in the past. So I had picked Revan returning to the dark side, and taking over the Star Forge with a fallen Bastila by his side. When on Korriban, we can open a sealed door which leads to a Sith holocron, where Bastila journals about Revan going to uncharted space without his crew, and how she misses him. We also square up to Sion and instigate a fight straight away. In this version, things take a quite bleak and depressing turn. The exile returns to the Enclave to meet with the rest of the remaining Jedi that live.
Is it as you expected?
In both light and dark side saves, Kreia retakes her mantle as a Sith Lord, Darth Treya, with the exile severing herself from the Force after the horrific events of Malachor 5 that scarred her. Kreia viewed it as an act of strength, something that she couldn't quite understand, and was gravitated towards the exile. After finding out that it wasn't strength but fear, bringing the exile to unconsciously cut the connection to the Force, Kreia's view towards the exile changed dramatically. The exile fails her expectations after meeting with the Jedi Masters, or killing them all. Kreia had wished to prove her own point right, through the exile's actions of aligning with her beliefs or through her failures, along with how the Force is a detriment to both Jedi and Sith. She views the Force as a thing keeping people tied up to a fate or destiny, and if it were to be destroyed, people would be free from following a somewhat defined path that was set out for them, instead of being free to do whatever they wish. Another thing to add is that Kreia feels the Force itself is responsible for the light and dark side conflict that has caused so much chaos throughout the galaxy. trying to teach or manipulate the exile, using examples of altruism, manipulating party members, and reviving enemies to create an event of learning, but in the process, causing further battles and wars. There's so much more to go into, with many players having their own interpretation of the ideologies their characters of the game have. There are brilliant videos that go into more detail. For now, we will move on, focusing on getting all achievements and finishing on telling the story. During our conversation with Kreia, an achievement will pop called No Jedi Can Stop Us. This is where we will finally earn the achievement for killing all the Jedi Masters on the planets we have visited. When questioned by Kreia if we are satisfied with killing the Jedi Council that had exiled us, no matter what answer we pick, she is infuriated, as we have failed to listen to her teachings. With the bond we share, she strikes her own lightsaber into herself, in turn having the exile feel the pain.
Let that pain be a lesson and a reminder of what you have forgotten.
You were my last hope. The only one who could change what is to come. Now you have left me nothing.
I shall teach you no longer. Our bond remains, but that is all.
We also earn another achievement after we recover, which will be the dark side equivalent of one achievement earned earlier, gaining all dark side force powers, Force Crush, which we will see in action later. A very overpowered attack we will be taking advantage of. Through Atan being attacked, we know that Kreia's gone to Telos, and as we land back in the secret enclave, the crew are in search of the person who betrayed them. Kreia, however, had left before we arrived, but Atris is still in the meditation chamber awaiting us. Always apprehensive towards the exile, she is still furious about the exile abandoning the council to help out in the Mandalorian wars. With her fallen to the dark side, Atris believes that killing the exile will lead her to enlightenment, and continue her plans on defeating the Sith and rebuilding the Jedi Order in her own ways. So it turns out that she had intentionally leaked the exile's trial for T3M4 to download and show for us to do exactly what we had done, to find the Jedi Master's locations and reunite them, in turn bringing the Sith out of hiding. We now know that the Sith are on their way to Telos, and chaos will rage amongst the planet. And with this, we battle a fallen Atris. Finally defeated, she wishes for the exile to kill her. Mitra, however, suggests exile. Atris also tells us the location of Kreia, after gaining the information from the Sith holocrons. She has gone back to Malachor 5, a place that has scarred the exile and many others, the destroyed planet on where the massacre of the Mandalorian Wars had ended. Returning to this location won't be easy. But first we must put a stop to the impending attack the Sith have on Telos. On the dark side playthrough, of course, the evil exile murders Atris. Before confronting the ambiguous Sith Lord and defending Telos, we control HK-47 as he finally tries to put a stop to the endless HK Assassination droid army that has been continuously hunting the crew throughout the game. Battling droids and amusing dialogue, with the HK-50 units delivering patronising statements to who they view as an outdated, less superior model in HK-47. We work our way through the factory in an attempt to shut it all down. Upon exploring, however, we find that there's a new line of droids being constructed. HK-47 can put his behavioural core data into the brand new HK-51 production line, whilst terminating the HK-50 line who hunt us. Following this, the HK-51 unit line take orders from their master HK-47, in turn taking out the pesky HK-50 units that have been hindering our progress with their insane hit points, dragging battles out longer than they should. This part ends with HK-47 feeling that he has more of a purpose, finishing off with a rallying speech to the new army. Back with the crew on Telos, The Sith have started their attack, meeting with old faces and aid from planets we have assisted. Depending on our alignment, of course. We progress through the Citadel of Telos, now under red alert, helping out any Republic and ally forces to take down Sith troopers raiding the station. With the Citadel now cleared of the Sith, we will take Visas and Mandalore, along with his clan, to infiltrate Darth Nihilus's Ravager's ship. In preparation, as we press through the ship, we plant proton charges to set off, after we hopefully take down the Sith Lord for good. In the process of clearing out each room, we re-encounter General Tobin. As we see from his skin, he has been corrupted by the hunger of the dark side. We can explain to him that the Sith Lord that he obeys will only go back to Onderon to destroy and drain all life of the planet after he is done with Telos. You do get a Silver Surfer Galactus vibe from this, and with Tobin realising that what we say is true, we make a plan for him to meet up with the Mandalorian crew and be the one to set off the proton bombs as we leave the ship, if all goes according to plan. Further on, the crew come across Visas' old chamber, where she asks if we could spare a moment as she meditates one last time in her old quarters. This is where she meditates on the journey so far, also coming to terms with what had happened to her old planet, and the people that were destroyed by her old master. Eventually making it to the bridge of this dark and eerie Ravager ship, we come face to face with the Dark Lord himself. For me, this was one of the tougher fights in terms of how buffed this character is. It took longer than I expected to get his health down. During a pause in combat, only due to it putting the crew in a stasis, the exile can tell the Sith Lord that Kreia had tricked it into coming to Telos, thinking that there would be Jedi to feed off. Through its hunger overwhelming it, Darth Nihilus is drained of energy. We are able to defeat it once and for all, ending the impending doom of this dark entity, wiping out all life throughout the galaxy. After the battle is done, we unlock the Hunger Strike achievement for defeating Darth Nihilus. With Visas inspecting the dead body, she sees a vision of a graveyard world, surrounded by a fleet of dead ships, and she feels it through the exile too, sounding like Malachor 5. Heading back to the shuttle to escape, we get one last attack from Nihilus's body. A dark side energy takes us all to the ground. Mandalore is more badly injured than the rest, but with the help from Visas aiding him to stand, rather than his request to leave him die. It's for the first time where he is addressed as Canderous. Mandalore gets to his feet, fueled by the motivation of her sounding like Revan. Mandalore then opens up about Revan's last words to him. It turns out that the Mandalorian War was caused by an outside entity that wanted to see the galaxy destroyed and weakened, unable to be controlled and conquered. Revan wanted to explore the unknown regions of space in an attempt to stop these evil entities cause more havoc in the future. The crew now flee the ship and set off the charges to destroy the Ravager for good. We are finally taking down the dreaded Darth Nihilus from consuming worlds. In the dark side playthrough, much is the same bar who we have sided with. Once on the Ravager, instead of accepting the past, Visas has chosen to embrace vengeance and the dark side, from her homeworld being destroyed as a motivation before the big battle, giving her a stronger connection to the Force. When we get to Darth Nihilus, the fight does drag on again. This time I thought it would be suitable for the character to retrieve the iconic mask, which boosts your connection to the Force and gains us a Finders Keepers achievement by claiming Darth Nihilus's mask. Returning to Telos, we are requested to meet Admiral Onasi. For the fans of the first game, it's a nice piece of fan service. The meeting is mainly centered around Revan. Onasi is curious during our time in exile in the Outer Rim if we came into contact with his friend. He gives the place of the first game a continuation of what happened after defeating Malak and destroying the Star Forge. Like mentioned before with Mandalore, Revan had to leave the Ebon Hawk and its crew for their safety, to explore beyond the Outer Rim, with a mysterious evil seemingly prepping to invade, setting up an idea for, unfortunately, a non-existent third game. I feel like the developers used this idea to start off the Mass Effect franchise due to its familiar and somewhat brief-sounding theme with the Reapers invading. Before leaving, Revan told Carth to keep the Republic safe, which he's been doing with the help of the Exile, but is now worried about Revan's fate. It's been 4 years, and still he is yet to know what had happened to him. The Exile answers in the only way she can, saying not to give up hope. We soon will be trying to look for Revan, after we aim to put an end to the Sith on Malachor 5. The meeting between the Exile and Admiral Onasi ends after Carth requests that you tell Revan one thing.
Simply tell him that Admiral Onasi is following his orders.
Upon leaving, another party member from the first game returns, Bastila. She was Revan's partner, and questions Carth if the Exile knew anything about Revan's location, so that she too can help Revan if in peril. Being his love interest and sharing a special bond, Bastila too is in fear of his safety, scared of perhaps never getting the answers of his whereabouts, questioning why he felt like he had to leave to protect the crew. The thing that keeps him going is that they continue to do what was important to Revan, to stay and keep the Republic safe. The crew now head to the death planet of Malachor 5 to end Kreia, now Darth Treya's plans. Returning to her Darth moniker, you can see how brutal she is, by killing a team of Sith assassins and overpowering Darth Sion with ease in the main temple chamber of the planet. Attempting to land safely, we can see the destroyed planet being held together by the mass shadow generator, the weapon that was used to end the Mandalorian Wars. Entering the atmosphere, thunder, lightning, mist, anything that would cause havoc for a pilot to land occurs, ending with the Ebon Hawk crashing into a mountain, lodged and unable to be moved.
Master, she is here.
I know.
What is thy bidding, my master?
You are to do nothing. When she arrives, bring her before me.
The Exile will have to travel the planet's surface in search of the Sith Temple, avoiding the green glowing poisonous gas pockets and slaying aggressive beasts that roam lurking for their next feed. With the party being launched out of the Ebon Hawk as it crashes, the crew are split up. Mira awakens only to be hunted by a rival, Hanha, who wishes to kill her once and for all. After fighting, she chooses to spare his life, not wanting to kill him in cold blood. Hanha will threaten to continue to hunt her for the rest of their lives, which she accepts the reality of having to face in the future. But for now, she can't waste any more time and continues to search for the rest of the crew. Eventually finding the Sith Temple, the Exile is welcomed by Sith assassins, not attacking but taking a knee as they enter for Kreia's final test. Along the way, we get to control Beodor's remote droid. A holocron plays with Beodor. It is clear that this droid was programmed by him on the Ebon Hawk, that when the inevitable time comes that they're on Malachor 5 again, that the droid should activate the mass shadow generator once more. Doing this would destroy the super weapon and break apart the Death Planet for good. This is done by searching the surface, looking for the old Republic ships to activate their engines and power up the mass shadow generator. Once done, we are confronted by Goto. The exchange droid wants the planet's crashed ships and ancient relics found, then sold to stabilize the Republic. So this is a spoiler for an achievement that we need to get later, but there's no better time to say it than now. Goto's secret is that there's actually no crime lord that communicates with you through the droid, but it is the droid itself. It was built to figure out a way to stabilize the Republic, but the way the Republic was would deem this programming impossible due to their failing infrastructure. This would essentially cause the droid to break. Only by not abiding by the laws of the Senate would there be a way to stabilize the Republic. So this droid became a fucking crime lord and used the exchange to illegally save the Republic's economy. For it to be taken seriously, it would have to use a fake human holocron for communication. With Goto holding the remote droid hostage, HK-47 appears with his HK-51 army.
Correction. One could rust listening to your speeches, Fat One. Perhaps it is the large unwieldy vocabulator within your moon-sized frame that prevents your calculations from taking me into account.
Goto, thinking it has the upper hand with its use of the HK-50 assassin droids, doesn't realise that HK-47 has his own free will and has programmed the HK-51 units to end the production of the HK-50 assassin droids, to then destroy Goto for good, in turn causing the remote to complete the task set by its creator, causing the planet to destabilize once the mass shadow generator is activated, after of course the Exile and co are safe. We will jump to and from different characters a few times during the planet, as now it seems that the crew bar the Exile and the droids have made their way to Kreia, but are quickly overwhelmed by the power of Darth Treya, taking them all out with ease. Only one remains, Atton, who decides it's best to flee, but unfortunately runs into Darth Sion. With Sion's ability to recover due to the dark side, Atton, although injured, manages to escape once more, and for the best. There will be no way to defeat Sion for the smuggler turned Jedi Padawan. Darth Treya orders Sion to wait for the Exile outside the center chamber, another test for us to see which of the two directions we can take to confront it. One with a load of Sith to battle, in turn making us more powerful, and the other with our captured party members to save, but apparently causing us to be weaker. Of course I chose to go both ways for 100% exploration. We get a choice to kill or release our party members, which on the light side playthrough I save, but for the dark side playthrough I decided to kill them, just to see how this affects the game moving forward. And of course, I'm a baddie in this playthrough. Once saved, we tell our friends to get to safety, as the Exile wishes to take on the manipulative Dark Lord alone. If she fails, at least the Exile's friends would be safe. Outside the passage to the core, Darth Sion awaits. It's still unknown as to why he has accepted Darth Treya as his master, but what we do know is that as long as he embraces the power of the dark side, it will keep his rotting corpse together, keeping him alive, unable to be killed. This is what Kreia hates him for. He is reliant on the Force, the very thing she wishes to destroy, branding him a failure as an apprentice. With every pause in combat as Darth Sion regenerates, the Exile and the Dark Lord converse. Throughout our meetings, he has grown to respect us, from believing that we are not a worthy adversary, along with being the last Jedi to slay and complete Sith victory, to the point of infatuation. Eventually, Mitra can show Sion the price he paid for his immortality, convincing him to let go of the dark. The Sith Lord finds peace, finally allowing himself to die, unlocking the pain relief achievement for defeating Darth Sion.
At last you have arrived. Is Malachor as you remember?
Heading into the core of Malachor, Kreia awaits in the center of the chamber. During this time, we are able to ask our former master questions. Why she manipulated Atris to battle you is replied with her not wanting the teachings of both Sith and Jedi to persevere. Why was the Exile chosen by her? Answered by it was our choice to cut our connection from the Force, whereas others before us were stripped of it. Having the Exile willingly cut herself off from the Force after the death of thousands made her a perfect choice to be able to destroy the Force for good. If a once Force user can cut themselves off, then surely the Jedi and Sith cannot be so obsessive with the whole concept of it, which both parties interpret to their own beliefs, potentially causing more harm than good to the entire galaxy. Kreia's plan was to exploit Mitra Surik's special ability in Force bonding to create another wound, one far greater than the one before, by killing her and destroying the Force for good.
I used you to keep the Lords of the Sith from condemning the galaxy to death with their power unchecked. I used you to lure them to Telos, where they could be at last fought and killed. I used you to reveal Atris's corruption so that her teaching could be ended before it began. I used you to gather the Jedi so they could be destroyed, and I used you to make those who wounded me reveal themselves so they could be killed by the Republic.
As battle begins, the fight is very tight, and the exile feels that Darth Traya can still be saved. Mentioning this will only infuriate the Lord of Manipulation more, drawing out 3 very tough to battle floating lightsabers for the second phase. Eventually stopping the sabers, the exile manages to finally defeat our old master, Kreia. Not the typical defeated villain trope of damn yous and rage. If anything, we get praise from Kreia, stating that the exile is greater than any other she has trained. By killing her would reward Kreia more than we can possibly know. We made our own choices, and we're not guided by the Force to keep balance. One of the main things Kreia had always wished for Force users to be like, not controlled by the Force, and to create their own path. As one final gift to us, Kreia is able to use the last of her moments to tell us on the future.
It is my last gift to you, from one exile to another.
With our help throughout the game, the Telos restoration project will be complete, and the planet will thrive again, as well as Dantooine, pushing raiders and Mandalorians back to the Outer Rim. Onderon will be safe under Queen Talia's long reign, joining the Republic. Nar Shaddaa will persist as it always was, but with a heart to the world where there was nothing before. Korriban shall be as it always was, a graveyard for the darkest of the Sith Lords, still whispering in their tombs. The Republic will fall, but the fall that will take a millennia. We can also ask about our friends. Mira will give up the hunting life, helping others, and miss the exile, thinking about her often. Mandalore will continue to be the leader of the Mandalorians, but they will die out along with the Republic. Visas shall return to her homeworld, and look upon the surface of the world, and perhaps at last see what she was meant to see, and make peace with the planet. The disciple shall sit upon the new council, reluctantly, as all good men do. It's unknown what is to happen to Beodor, the droids, or Atom. We are also told about Revan going beyond the Outer Rim to fight, in Kreia's words, the true Sith. But he is in need of warriors. With all questions answered, Kreia is unable to be saved and dies in the heart of Malachor. With Atom awaiting the exile, being his usual self cracking a joke, the mass shadow generator is activated, causing the planet to destabilize. With the Ebon Hawk now unlodged from the mountains, the whole crew picks up both the exile and Atom, fleeing the planet as it's destroyed and flying into space, ending the game and unlocking the Seeker trophy for completing the game on the light side. The Darkside playthrough ending is next. This is where we unleash our power of the dark side, slaying Kreia and throwing her into the deep pits of Malachor, in turn taking over the planet and ancient Sith Temple as our new base, earning the Destiny Dominated achievement for completing the game on the dark side. There are still more achievements left to get. I did pop 1 or 2 before the ending, but I think it'll be more suitable to place with the others, as some I had failed to unlock, or had popped at random moments during the game. I thought I would be able to get 100% on 2 playthroughs, but it seems that a 3rd and maybe even 4th are needed. Before doing that though, we somehow during the game unlock the Sith Lord achievement. This is for having your character replace any of the Sith Lords on the main menu screen. I think it's only meant for your dark side character, so throughout loading up the game, you would get 3 different Sith Lords on the menu screen: Scion, Nihilus, and Kreia. Killing all 3, then finishing the game with your dark side character, you will become a Sith Lord. But here when loading, I had my light side character on it, and before I even finished the game. Nevertheless, we still earned the achievement. Thankfully, I saved us certain parts during the game, where I could reload and talk to our party members to see if I missed out on any dialogue, like I did with HK-47. Here I would unlock an achievement called Assassination Protocol Active. This is for learning how to kill Jedi from HK-47.
I would appreciate it if Jedi need to be killed, that you permit me to kill those annoying pseudo-pacifists for you. But if you are determined to do it yourself, then there are many techniques I would suggest. Answer. Doubt, Master. It has killed many Jedi, and it has killed many Sith.
For other party member achievements, I would need another playthrough with a light-sided male character, so that I could build up or reduce enough influence to unlock secret dialogue relating to achievements. For the Laugh It Up Fuzzball achievement, we need to gain enough influence with Han-Ha, of course with our dark side character. Conversing enough with him by belittling him or never showing him mercy will eventually cause us to break his spirit. Next up is the I Hate Everything About You achievement. To earn this, we need to reduce a companion's influence to 0. This can be easily done with a female character who can recruit the disciple. Being horrible to him in conversation and doing general dark side things will lower his influence to 0 before we even leave the Jedi ruins we recruited him from. The next few achievements are all Force power related. So, for the Lost in Your Work achievement, we need to learn the moving meditation. This is done by having a high repair and computer use points, and fully fixing T3M4, and gaining influence with the droid. Doing this as well unlocks unique dialogue and secret lore. We also gain a Force ability to be able to repair T3 if he's injured. Next up is the Your Eyes Can Deceive You achievement. This is earned by learning Foresight. You must gain influence with a Thesis and pass an influence check. Foresight is quite good if you are unsure of what alignment people around you are if you're playing for the first time. After progressing through enough of the game, you can Prestige and have a pick of your choice of one of the 3 classes available to you, depending on your alignment. These are extensions of the base classes you get at the start of the game, enhancing the abilities of core classes and building on them. Breaking the Oath achievement requires you to teach the Handmaiden the ways of the Force, something that Atris had forbidden it to do. Just like the other party members, you must gain enough influence to unlock dialogue. That will eventually end up with having a member of the Ebonhawk crew learn the ways of the Force. Completing the Dantooine and Onderon quest lines, we can come back to Nar Shaddaa and talk to a Rhodian shopkeeper, someone who we'd spoke to earlier in the game, about helping them build trading relations to the respective planets. After doing so, there are some rare items in the shop we can purchase, where we buy a pacifist package. Installing this unique module into HK-47 earns an achievement, as well as brilliant dialogue from the Assassination droid turned Buddha.
I respect all life. All life is connected and should be nurtured. Statement. Master, please, I beg you, never install anything again without checking it in the diagnostics bay first. That was a close one. I almost surrendered completely to peace and pacifism. How repugnant. Query. Now, are there any other horrors you wish to try and insert in my system, or is your electronic butchery done?
I've already explained the twist in this, but to quickly summarise, after completing the Nar Shaddaa main quest, we can gain a companion droid called Goto. Gaining enough influence with this character, as well as finding more information about the droid, will eventually lead you to finding out that the droid itself is the Crime Lord, and not the Crime Lord using the droid to communicate to the exile. Once approaching the droid and talking to it about its real identity with the evidence found, it will confess. and explain why they did the things they did to stabilize the Republic. Earning the achievement, "You are the droid I'm looking for." This took me way too long to earn, and I had to reload to save 8 hours behind, and quickly speedrun as I didn't get enough influence with the character. So I would pick choices that I thought would gain influence. I managed to do the 8 previous hours in around just over 2. The final straight, ladies and gentlemen. For the last achievement of the game, I wanted to keep it a simple one. I'm actually surprised I didn't get it earlier accidentally just by playing. But to earn the Never Tell Me the Odds achievement, you must win a game of Pazaak with a full board. You do get teased with constant near misses and getting so close. But my tactic was to have all negative or plus minus cards in my deck. Using the negative cards will of course lower the number you have, causing us to have more cards on the board, which eventually has us earn the last achievement of the game with around 108 hours played. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, is this it? This is it. Finally! 100%. Oh my days. Oh, and you end on a 20 as well, that's banging. Well over 100 hours at this point. So many mistakes I had to redo. Oh, thank God. Thank God. It's done. The video can finally be released. Finally, it is done. This took me on and off nearly a year to record. This is definitely going to be my longest video yet. But I know the KOTOR fanbase is filled with people like me who just adore the series. So I'll be quick in my summary. I don't want to drag the video on longer than it already should. Going back and playing another game from my childhood with adult eyes was a decision I'm glad I made. The more in-depth, dark story of this series, instead of the usual good versus evil trope, is why I enjoy this era of the Star Wars universe so much. It's because it's different. It's different from most other Star Wars tales, making it stand out more by being unique. So there we are then. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all again soon as we pray in unison for a KOTOR remaster to still be in development. Take care.